Okay, so we're going to go over the exponent rules, and we're going to do a few examples, and then you do the rest of it by yourself. So we've done most of this already. You guys should know that when you are adding or subtracting, you combine like terms. Do not change the variable or the exponents. So for instance, if these two are the same, all you're doing is subtracting 9 minus 10, and that gives you a negative 1. You leave the same x squared y that both of them have, right? Number 2, subtract this from this. Este de este. Restar. So then it's 8w minus 6w, right? They both have a w, so you subtract. 8 minus 6 is 2w. That's all. Okay, when we're talking about the product rule, product means to multiply. Okay, so that's why it has that little dot right there. That means it's multiplying. So when you have both are x's and then the exponents are different, then you add the exponents. So it's x to the a plus b. That's the rule. That means you just add the exponents. So for problem number 1, see you're multiplying the two h's. You count how many you have of each. I have 2 h's here and I have 6 h's here. So in total, how many h's do I have? 8. Right? Because I added the 2 and the 6. For this one, because it has coefficients, you multiply the coefficients and then you add the letters. So when I multiply negative 2 times 7, what do you get? Negative 14. Okay? Then you count the a's. How many a's do I have in total? 5. And how many b's do I have in total? 2. And that's it. So you multiply the coefficients and you add the letters. Add the exponents. The power rule. We did this one the second day. If you have parentheses and it's to another power, then those two powers need to multiply. So you have x to the a times b. You multiply the exponents. So problem number 1, all I have to do is multiply the 2 times the 3, and that gives me 6. So x to the 2 times 3, which equals x to the 6th power. Okay? And then number 2, if you have a coefficient in the front, then you raise it to that power. You don't multiply those two. The coefficient needs to be raised to that power. So now I have parentheses negative 2 squared. Okay, and then I can multiply these two, the little ones. So 5 times 2 is 10. That's m to the 10th power times m to the 3rd power. So I'm not done. You have to raise this to the power. So those are the ones that you put in the calculator. You put parentheses, negative 2, close parentheses, to the power of 2. That gives you a positive 4. Okay, positive 4. And then what do you do with these two? You add them. 10 plus 3 is 13, so that's m to the power of 13. 4m to the power of 13. Okay, the division one, we just finished doing yesterday. When you're dividing, you're really subtracting the exponent. So that's x to the a minus b. Right? And then the coefficients, those are divided because this is division. So in the calculator, I need you to put 27 divided by 42. 27 divided by 42. And it gives you a decimal, so then you do math, enter, enter. 27 divided by 42, enter. Math, enter, enter. 9 over 14? Okay. So then we write that down. 9 over 14. And then these two, you just subtract them. So that's 5 minus a 1 gives you x to the 4th power. Okay? This one is just like this one, so we multiply those two. 2 times 2 is 4, so now I have y to the 4th power over y to the 4th power. If they're the same top and bottom, they cancel. Or you could have told me, well, you told me to subtract, so okay, I subtract 4 minus 4 gives you 0. Y to the 0 power equals to 1. Anything, look at this rule. Anything to the 0 power equals 1. From now on, anything. So right here, problem number 1, x to the 0 power, that becomes a 1, right? So that's like 7. 7 times 1 equals just 7. Okay? Or you could have just canceled it and said, well, I have a 7 left over. That's it. Let's do this one. What do I do with the 4 and the 2? You multiply them, so that gives you w to the 8th power all over w to the 8th power. So what does that give you? 1, because it cancels, right? They cancel, and it becomes just a 1, not a 0. This becomes 1, or w to the 0 power, which equals 1. Okay? Let's do this one, number 2, on the negative exponent rule, before I tell you how to do that. What do I do with the 4 and the 8? You divide it. Put it in the calculator. 4 divided by 8. Math, enter, enter. One half. Now I want you to pay attention to this now. Which is the bigger number, the top or the bottom? The bottom, right? The bottom has more k's than the top. For instance, let me draw it right here. I have 2 k's on top, 1, 2, and I have 5 k's on bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You notice that there's more on bottom. When I cancel, I can cancel 2 k's, 1, 2. So what has more, the top or the bottom now? The bottom still has more. Okay, so yes, you subtract them, but you're going to leave it where the bigger number is. So if the bigger number was at the bottom, they stay at the bottom. So I have 1 over 2 k to the 3rd. Okay, they stay at the bottom. Because if you do 2 minus 5 on the calculator, 2 minus 5 gives you a negative 3. That means it's going to be at the bottom. The letters are at the bottom, not at the top. To the 3rd power, positive. So what does the rule say? The rule says that you cannot have negative exponents. If you have a negative exponent like we did here, it would have gave me a negative k to the 3rd. It has to go to the bottom. So this one is going to go to the bottom, and it's going to become positive. So what's left at the top? Just a 1. So problem number 1 says that the x is to a negative 2 power. So what do I do with that x? What do I do with the x? You bring it to the bottom and you make it a positive. So this is going to be negative 5 on top, and on bottom you have x squared. Positive x squared. Okay, so let's go to the back page and let's just do a few of those negative ones. Number 1, what am I going to do with the negative 5? Bring it to the bottom, make it a positive, right? What do I have left on top? Just a 1, because there's nothing else. Right here, what am I going to do with that one? Bring it to the bottom. Make it a positive. What's left on top? Just the 3. Because the 3 didn't go to the bottom. It didn't have a negative exponent. It was just that one. What about right here? What's going to the bottom? The a to the negative 4. That's the only thing that goes to the bottom. So now I have negative 7 on top, b cubed on top, and the a to the positive 4 goes to the bottom. Okay? Let's do number 4. Which one's going to go to the bottom? W to the negative 9. So this one stays on top, right? So now I have W to the 7 on top, W to the 9 on bottom, but I have W's on top and on bottom, so don't I have to cancel something? Which one has the most, the top or the bottom? By how many? By 2. So that's your answer. Okay, it's like you're subtracting them, you're taking the difference, and then you're telling me which one has more, the top or the bottom, and that's where you leave it. And if you don't believe me, you can expand them. Watch this. I have 7 W's on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 9 W's on bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Cancel them. So you're left with 2 on the bottom. Got it? Okay. Number 5. What is moving to the bottom? The d to the negative 3. And what else? C to the negative 5 and d to the negative 1. So do that. D 3 on bottom, C 5 on bottom, D 1 on bottom. What do I have on top? C 8. And what about the 4 and the 5? It says multiply, so you multiply them, right? 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, so what do I do now? Is there anything I can cancel? The C's, right? What has more, the top or the bottom? By how many? 3. So 20 C to the 3rd on top. And what do I do with these D's? Because they're the same, right? Can I just combine them? Yeah, so I have 3 here, 1 here, all together 4. D to the 4 on bottom. Okay? I want you to try them. So go ahead and pause the video and try as many as you can by yourself. Okay, so quickly, problem number 8. This whole thing is going to go to the bottom. And it's going to become a positive. Okay, so now you need to square the whole bottom. So 8 squared. You need to square the 8. And you need to multiply these two. That's p to the 10th. So what's 8 squared? 8 times 8? 64. P to the 10th. Okay, and then problems like this one where the negative is at the bottom, that needs to come to the top. So let's rewrite. This is going to go to the bottom. This is going to go to the bottom. I have d squared. That one went to the top. So I'm going to cancel it. And then this one stays at the bottom. So c to the 7. Then this one's moving to the bottom. C squared. Cancel it. And then this